Nobody indeed. What is good? Welcome to Driving the Line. The overs. I should have said brought to you by Driving the Line. Damn it. I messed up the intro on the first one. TJ Parker, my man. We are going to be coming weekly, all right, 8 p.m. Eastern, the same time every Wednesday to break down the week that will be, I should say the weekend of college baseball. TJ, my man, how we doing, buddy?
Good, man. We can run it back. We'll just do it one more time.
Yeah, everybody log out. All right.
Yeah, it's all good. Excited to be here, man. Excited.
Yeah, I am too, man. I am too. Look, and here we go. All right, week 3. All right, we're not going to waste any time, but what we are going to do is say thank you to each and every person that is in the chat at one time. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it. And look, this is an interactive show. So we're going to go through everything that we have, but feel free, drop in questions, comments, thoughts. Like, you will see how this show is broken down, and it's the same thing that we've been doing, all right, for the last couple years or so. But again, it's all of us together against the books. So you'll see our, lists and everything. If you like a team, don't like a team that's on there, have a different one, your opinion is just as important as ours. So make sure to put those in the chat. We'll get them on the show for sure. All right, so let's start off here, TJ, as we always do. And let's just take a look at the top 25 that we have coming in. We are in week 3. All right. Now, again, the beginning of the season, the first month or so, it's all over the board, right? Like we really get consistency as we get closer to, conference play. So the first month or so is a bunch of tournaments. So what we have here is our top 25 coming in to week 3. So you see the top 15 right there, as well as 16 through 25. So TJ, I'll throw it over to you first, man. And again, don't feel like you have to go deep into any team because we're going to do that in multiple ways here. But just look at this top 25, man, like what you've seen the first 2 weeks of the season, who's been a surprise to you, who's been what you thought that they were going to be, right? Just your thoughts in general on the top 25.
Yeah, the first 3 weeks have been definitely interesting, to say the least. But a team that really interests me right now is it's kind of chalky, but Tennessee. They haven't lost yet. I feel like they have had a pretty good schedule, and they've jumped out there. You have Virginia there. I can see green. They definitely interest me because they got to figure it out. Don't know what's going on right now. And then I've always liked Vandy, big Vandy guy. Love what they do over the past couple of years, obviously, getting their program back going. And then Oregon Ducks, always been my team because I had a boy. I used to coach, grew up playing there. Now he's gone to Stenson. So I get to bet on them more because it's not really all with my heart. Love that. And then just the last two there, Ole Miss and TCU sitting 24 and 25. It's always interesting to see the guys who are sitting, the teams that are sitting there near the bottom and who's going to bump in and bump out as we go.
Yep. Yeah. And, you see at the top here, we use D1 Baseball, absolute terrific site. I would say support them by, just going. I'm not saying you got to sign up for anything, like just using their site, right? Like that definitely, keeps the lights on for them over there. And they're fantastic, man. Kendall Rogers and his team, they do a great job. They love the sport. They cover it in so many ways. And they're so certified that their rankings count. You know what I mean? So what you see right there, I agree with you in terms of the top 25. Like there's not a whole lot, that's really been super surprising other than Duke. But we remember how they ended last season, man. Like it was just dog slaw, right? Like it was rough. Virginia, tough start for them. But again, it's so early that we don't want to just, completely destroy, anybody that's out there or hype people up. Like you said, man, like Tennessee, all the numbers, the stats, everything look great. And I mean, everybody understands, like, I'm a Tennessee guy for sure, but they haven't played anybody, you know what I mean? So that's why you'll see some of these stats, like take it with a grain of salt. Understand, kind of what you are getting into. Okay, so that's the top 25. Now let's get into the show here, okay? So we normally start with key series coming this weekend. I mean, that's what this show is about. And let me say this real quick. Anybody that's brand new to betting college baseball, or you've been with us for a while, remember, all right, a couple things here. Number one, it's about winning the week/weekend, right? Like that's what it's about. You have to look at this sport by more than one day because I have seen I have seen bettors just get so frustrated because they focus just day to day to day. And don't get me wrong, we want to hit bets and hit more than we lose every day, but the sport is not built that way. All right. So taking a look at a week perspective here, yeah, you're going to have midweek games that make no sense. Look at Tuesday night. All right. We had ranked teams all over the place. Number one team in the country, Texas A&M, loses at home to Texas State. Right. So understand that you're going to have ups and downs in this sport. Betting it, win the week, then do it again, then do it again, then do it again. Okay. Now, like we said, it's normally key series, but we got a lot of tournaments going on. So we're going to break it down Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So we'll start Friday here. All right. Tennessee, you just talked about them. All right. Taking on Oklahoma State. They're in a tournament here in Houston at Minute Maid Park. We've got Miami and Florida, a series this weekend. We've got Southern Miss TCU, a series this weekend. South Carolina, Clemson, a series this weekend. Arizona and Texas A&M also in that tournament. We had Tennessee and Oklahoma State in there playing on Friday. And then, dude, pay attention to this West Coast tournament here in Los Angeles, right? Friday, we've got Vanderbilt and UCLA. So those are your top games. Tell me one. Which one catches your eye?
Tennessee, Oklahoma State for sure. Being that you'll see it later, we'll get into it a little bit, but I'm excited for the pitching matchup in that game. I'll just hint with that. Obviously, with Oklahoma State being 3-3, I'm not sure what the number is we're going to get here to play with that one, but hoping to get something there. And then, yeah, the last one you're just talking about there. I know UCLA sometimes can be a big letdown, but man, I love those jerseys. So I want to just see those nice Vandies up against those UCLA. That's going to be great. And then I didn't add that, but it's really fun for those college kids to get to play at the big league parks there in Houston, that Tennessee, Oklahoma State one. So, for them to go do that, it's going to be exciting for them. Looking forward.
It is. Yeah, no doubt, dude. And look, UCLA has been a wagon so far this year, man. They're scoring runs and looking good, dude. And you're right. That's going to be a heck of a uniform matchup there. Now, moving over to Saturday here, okay? So there's more great games. Like we're just using kind of the best six on each day as we go. So again, South Carolina and Clemson, obviously been a big rivalry there. Southern Miss TCU again, Maryland and Wake Forest. You want to talk about two freaking teams that score runs. That is going to be an awesome game on Saturday there in Winston-Salem. Arizona, Mississippi State, all right, in Houston against each other. Look at that. Vanderbilt, USC, another great uniform combination in Irvine, California, and then LSU and Nebraska here. Which one catches your eye, man?
The one, Southern California, Vanderbilt again. Southern California's just jumped out. They're playing really well right now. We'll see what they can do, but really like that one. And then Maryland, Wake Forest. I'm not sure what the numbers are going to be coming out for that one, but something I want to take advantage of, Wake Forest right now. So really like those two. And then there's a third one. I don't think you have it on there. I had it somewhere here to talk about it. Yeah. Mississippi State. No, you have it there. Yeah, sorry. Mississippi State, Arizona. Obviously with Arizona being 4-3 right now and winning 4 in a row, we're probably going to get some good numbers for them this weekend to bet against them. And I'm probably going to ride that for every game. So.
I feel you, dude. No, I feel you for sure.
I'm like, I agree, they won, man. 4 in a row.
They have, dude. They have. Now, going over to Sunday here, all right? Ohio State, Oregon State. All right, we'll talk about Oregon State here in just a minute. Arizona, Tennessee. Again, Southern Miss, TCU. Illinois and Texas. Fascinated with this game. Wright State and Ole Miss, okay? Wright State we rode last year every time we got them because they would score 39 runs and give up 34 runs. At Ole Miss, a really strong start for them. And then Mississippi State and Oklahoma State there in Houston. So that kind of wraps up Sunday. Any thoughts that you have in regards to Sunday's games?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Ole Miss Wright State, like you said. Right now, Ole Miss has some really good pitching going on. I'm monitoring or trying to figure out what's going on for the Friday matchup, make sure the right guy's in there, but I'm definitely hammering that one. And then for Sunday, I know you guys don't want to hear it. The crew doesn't want to hear it, but I'm really interested to see what happens in the Duke Northwestern series. I'm not betting it, but I want to see if by Sunday Duke has figured it out. So,
well, they didn't figure it out today. They've already lost today and got whooped doing it. I know, dude. It's
Yeah,
brutal, man.
bad.
Like, hey, maybe Duke is a team that we absolutely fade. Like, betting any team in any sport, you don't have to be good. You just have to be consistent. All right. If you're bad every time you come out, I can work with that. You know what I mean?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. All right. So those are our key games. And you will see if you're new to this show, this brand, it's all about setting it up. We record this Wednesday. It's live. Well, not record, it's live Wednesday, 8 p.m. Easterns. And we set it up for the weekend. So we don't have lines yet. We don't have any of that because a lot of these teams are still playing while we're live right now. Right. But we want to set it up and get an idea because when these lines come out, I assure you they'll start moving. So what we do is we go through all of the key information, analytics, and just conversation, and then get our list of teams that we are looking forward to betting this weekend. Now, those are our key games. Okay, my boy, I'm going to throw it over to you. All right, a new feature here to the overs, the bump. All right, standout pitching. TJ is going to give us information in regards to pitchers that we need to know. All right. Week after week after week. So you got 3 here. I'm going to just take myself off the screen, my boy, give you a little bit larger of a profile there. Start breaking it down. What you got, man?
Okay, sounds good. So basically what we're trying to do here is like we build a roster for pitchers that we really like to bet no matter who they're facing. So we're trying to figure out what nights or what days they get pitched. First, we're going to go with Bryson Dudley, off to a great start for Texas State. He's a junior. He is 6'3", 220 pounds, off to a 3-0 start, 0.93 ERA and 16 Ks. He comes over from JUCO. So really excited about this guy. I know that often we're not going to get Texas State, but he is a Friday guy for them. I was thinking about Elliot Hunter. He is a mixed guy for them. So right now, I don't have an availability on which nights he pitched. So far, he pitched February 14th. He pitched the 23rd, and we'll go back to the 18th. All Tuesdays, a Sunday, and a Saturday. So we really don't know what he's doing yet. And then Hunter Elliott of Ole Miss, junior, he's off to a great start, 2-0, 0 ERA, 13 Ks. Lefty, really, really good pitcher here. Ole Miss is a great team. And we do have him solidified as the Friday night guy. So look for Ole Miss at good numbers on Friday night. And then finally, we're going to add Liam Doyle to the lineup. Tennessee junior, 2-0, 0.87 ERA. And the main thing that caught my eye with this guy is not just his blonde hair, 25 Ks. The guy strikes out. Really, really good pitcher. Thick Southern boy, comes over from Coastal Carolina and Ole Miss, transferred over, and always been a K guy. And he also is solidified Tennessee's Friday night guy. So for him to be pitching on such a dominant team on Friday nights, I'm really looking forward to getting to bet them.
Yeah, dude, Doyle is a beast, man. Look, I mean, 25 strikeouts, right? Like and like you said, like Ole Miss is such a surprise to me. Not that they don't have players. I mean, Ole Miss just won a national championship very recently, but a lot of their players transferred to Tennessee this offseason, Liam Doyle included, right? So that's why Ole Miss, man, doing work already. But I love this, man. This is great. I look forward to it. Yeah, great job, man. I look forward to it every week so we understand exactly, because pitching is absolutely so important in this sport. And you'll notice a difference, right, on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, in regards to totals that you'll see that the books give you. Fridays, generally pretty low totals. 12.5, 11.5, because you have a team's number one versus the other team's number one. They're generally pretty damn good pitchers on both sides that tend to go long in games. Saturdays, you see it, bullpens, that's when everything comes into play. So great job by that, man. That is going to be fantastic. Now, let's take a look at the leaderboards here. Okay, so tracking team leaderboards for teams hitting home runs, okay, and then pitching in regards to the top 5 teams in regards to their ERAs this season. Okay. So home runs here, Tennessee and High Point, both ranked number 1 with 21 on the year. Wake Forest, talked about it, 20 home runs. Alabama, 19 bombs. And then East Tennessee State. Look at ETSU coming through, boy, with 18. Look at the other side. Miami, pitching staff, collective, 1.17 ERA. Florida State, 1.35 ERA. Florida, 1.36 ERA. Apparently, they're doing some damn pitching down in the state of Florida, all right? It is going down. LSU, fourth at 1.46, and then Northeastern at 1.88. Throw it over to you. Any thoughts when you see this? And again, we're through 2 weeks, right? We're going to see changes come through, but the point of not only this, slide of stats, but really all of them, is that as each week goes, we go through the season, you're going to start to notice the same teams that are popping up. And that's a good thing, because in this sport, it's very consistent. It's chaotic, but it's consistent, right? Teams that hit bombs, they're always playable, especially live, because they can score runs at any moment. All right. Teams, great pitching staffs collectively, which is why we do this. We don't play a lot of overs in these games. You know what I mean? Because they might score 6-7 runs. The other team might score 1-0, right? So it's just good information there. But yeah, again, sorry, I throw it over to you. Any thoughts, anything that you see coming out of this list so far?
Yeah, no surprise Wake Forest is there. I mean, their whole lineup should finish the year with double-digit home runs. Actually surprised they only got 20. They've actually been off to a slow start for hitting bombs so far. And then Alabama with 19. Is this a good time to bring up that miracle comeback on Sunday? Holy, that was awesome, eh? Like down 10 runs, come back, walk it off with a ball.
That's what's so great about this sport, is that, dude, it is never over, literally, until the game is over. Never over. Keep going.
I was driving home from work today thinking, like, I don't know how I could shortly explain, like, how incredible that explains baseball right there, to just come back from 10 runs. It's like, doesn't matter where you are at the point of the game. It's not over until, what they say, the fat lady sings. But LSU at 1.46, I like that. Obviously, I want them to do well, but like, I want to be able to bet them. So like, I wish one of their guys would struggle and they'd give us like, a little bit more numbers for them and stuff like that. But
that's the difficult part.
Nothing's really jumping out because it's only the first couple of weeks. I try not to get too deep into these numbers right away. So I like to use numbers, obviously, for all my bets and stuff like that. But first couple of weeks, I try to really not let them stray me. So,
yep. No, it's a great point. And that's the difficult part. Number one is, having context with these numbers. Okay. Number two, like you said, so far this year, we haven't had a lot of these teams to bet. I rarely see Tennessee, all right, in the options to bet, because, I mean, what are the books going to do? Minus 12.5 against Hofstra? You know what I mean? Like, what are you going to do? So you just don't get all of the options, but we will, I assure you. And the good part about this show is that it is a week to week to week show that builds off of itself. It's like AI, right? Like these numbers and this data that we track each week, right? Like, it builds off of itself. So that is the great point. It's not going to be completely crazy week to week to week. Like, we're going to do the right work. And I'm just going to tell you, I've never had a losing season betting college baseball. And I'm not saying that to blow smoke. All right. What I'm saying is that throughout this show, you're going to see these trackable stats. They absolutely freaking matter. They absolutely matter. And this is a sport built off of 300-something teams. You could get lost in the sauce easy. So we want to use this show to just simplify the process so that anybody, somebody comes in and is like, I don't want to do any of this tracking. You don't have to. Like, we got you. All right. So those are the team leaderboards right there. Okay. Coming in hot. All right. So what this is each week we're going to track teams coming into the weekend that had a damn good weekend, because again, it's a chaotic sport, but it's a consistent sport. All right. And we're going to just track these teams as we go. All right. See who is just playing maximum peak level. And then we look at who they're playing this coming weekend, right? Might be a tough series where we're like, man, not going to bet them. They actually played a better team. Or you could look at it and say, Georgia's playing Florida Gulf Coast. Okay. All right. I went 5-0 last week and feel pretty good about it. So here is what we have. Tennessee 4-0 in week 2. And again, we spoke about it playing tournament there in Houston. So it's going to be different teams Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Florida 4-0 playing Miami this weekend. Georgia 5-0 last week playing Florida Gulf Coast this weekend. Florida State 4-0 playing a series against Georgetown this weekend. And then Vanderbilt 5-0 playing in a tournament out in Los Angeles. So, yeah, I mean, TJ, any thoughts that you have? Like, this part right here will work better once we get into consistent weekend series. We'll be able to understand. But any teams that you're looking at right here on the left-hand side, you're saying, all right, I'm riding them. Like, I'm going with it once the lines come out.
Yeah, Vanderbilt. I mean, I know they got that big tournament, so it's going to be, iffy. We'll get lines, but it'll be iffy on whether they're bettable. The one thing that I'm really interested in is Georgia. I mean, today they looked awful for the first half of that game, so I thought they were going to finally, lose one because it is baseball. You have to lose eventually. I was hoping they kind of lose today, and then you could ride them all weekend to bounce back. But now, they bounced back today. Came back in that game 7-3. I don't know. They're due for a loss this weekend, so I'm a little bit scared to bet on them. You know what I mean? Like how we do that, we want to win the week. So we're like, if they're going to lose one of those, which one is it going to be? And we want to figure it out. I feel like Georgia, we got to figure out which one it's going to be.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's a great point because look, Georgia is due for a loss. Now, I bet Georgia money line today in baseball, so I was happy about it. But I know exactly what you're saying,
So
right? Yeah, there we go. Like, but you're right.
When they were down too,
look,
so it felt good.
Yeah, Georgia, they're due for a loss. All right, like Tennessee is absolutely like due to have a poor game. It's going to happen, right? And we'll see if it happens this weekend. Vanderbilt they've kind of gone through it because they've played a pretty darn tough schedule already, right? Florida State, we'll see about them, right? So, yeah, man, that's a great point too. Is I often find that Fridays are the most difficult. Like when we look at betting the weekend, there's a lot of times to where we'll go Friday and go 1-2, 0-3, right? And people that watch the show for like the first time, they're like, "Oh, this show sucks." Like I don't, but it's about that's why it's about the weekend because you will adjust and you can get better Saturday, Sunday, etc. Right? So this is coming in hot. We'll continue to use this all year long. Now, the opposite side, the bounce back. So TJ, look, Virginia, week 2 last week, they went 1-2, playing Dartmouth this weekend. I don't know if we're going to get Virginia against Dartmouth. Might want to target that one. Oregon State goes 2-2 in week 2, playing in a tournament. NC State 0-4. My God, NC State fell apart, playing Canisius this weekend. TCU went 2-2, playing Southern Miss, who's a good baseball team, man. And then Nebraska 1-3 last week, playing in a tournament as well this weekend. So, yeah, Teach, again, throw it to you, man. Who you looking at? What catches your eye here?
Yeah, obviously NC State, they're supposed to be a really top tier team. Last year, I think they came a little bit out of the woodworks a little bit. I think they were supposed to kind of level off as a program, but they really bounced back. And then Oregon State going 2-2 in the last 4 is very surprising to me. Last year, they were a bandwagon for me. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, I don't want to bet them. But right now, yeah, you want to stay away. And it's a tournament, so you got to be careful.
Yeah, you're right. And these tournaments are tough, man, because when you were speaking about, pitching, right, and our boy from Texas State, you're going to get that to where it's like once the season gets consistent, that's your Friday guy. You know what I mean? But right now, the days are, we got teams playing on Mondays, Tuesday mornings. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like it's tough, and especially those tournaments for sure. But we will use this week after week after week, building off of each other because you'll notice teams that are there every week, and you're like, okay, we're just not betting them.
And these are the teams where we can get good numbers. Like these are where you can be like, okay, so these are where we can jump on these numbers right here. You want to target these teams too. Don't ignore these teams.
No, not at all. These teams are where you make your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
These teams are absolutely where you make your money for sure. Completely agreed. Now, trends of note. Now, this is also a living document that we'll have week after week after week, okay? So we kind of start with 5 things that we see, and if we keep seeing it, we just update the numbers in said stat, right? If it stops, we take it out, right? It's not something that we could, consistently see. But what we want to do and use with this is, okay, well, this keeps happening. So, yeah, we can make money off of it. You know what I mean? So, all right, number 1, Alabama. I don't know if anybody's really paid attention to them. They're 9-0 They've won all 9 by 2+ runs. The only game that was close was Ohio State. They won by, I think, 2 runs. Everything else, they've scored like 9 runs minimum in every game. Now, take the schedule into effect, but they've actually played decent teams. So Alabama, if you're looking at, a team that's winning, that the books might not be paying attention to, that you could get a decent money line price, yeah, give a look. Or if you're looking to play overs, you know what I mean? VMI. Now, we don't really get the Virginia Military Institute, all right, on DraftKings a ton. 68 stolen bases already. If they get on base, they're taking second and third. This is a team that can score runs, right? Virginia Tech, this is a team that will get a lot. 30 doubles so far in 2025. I think they have like 5 home runs. They've got 30 doubles already this season. Wake Forest, okay? Their pitching staff. We talked about the runs. They score a ton of runs. The pitchers have a total of 118 strikeouts already. This Wake Forest team is strong on both sides here, pitching and hitting. And then Georgia. This is a weird one. They've been hit by pitches 29 times. Like, what the hell are they doing? Leaning into it? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of an odd stat there. But, if anybody's seen, what's that movie with Brad Pitt? Moneyball? Like,
Moneyball.
He gets on base. You know what I mean? Like, that's all that matters. So, thoughts when you see this, man? Anything standing out to you?
Well, obviously the last one, when you sent me this, I double take it. That 29 hit by pitches. That makes no sense. I actually play ball with a guy like that. He finished it. We play like short season. The guy will have like one.
Let me guess. He played third base or catcher.
Yeah. Well, he plays third and second, so kind of. Yeah. Just never cared not to get hit. Yeah. But yeah, that one's pretty crazy. And then we'll have to keep an eye on that Virginia Tech hitting all those doubles, because doubles really do win baseball games. Everybody knows that. Keeps rallies going. Yeah. And then Alabama, I don't know where they're ranked right now. I know they're not in the top 25, but they got to be pretty. They're in the top 50, right? Like they were. I don't remember the top 100.
They were.
They're gonna be They're gonna be creeping in, is what I was thinking when you read that out. Like if they were 9-0 and they're winning by that much, they're gonna be creeping into the top 25 the next little bit.
Yeah. Definitely. And, they were a team that we bet a lot last year. Like, they had pitching, they had hitting too. They're a lot like their basketball team last year. Like their basketball team fired 8 trillion threes, and this team could hit, man. So yeah, Alabama, but definitely. And that's what you just said is exactly the point of this right here, is that whatever we see, man, like jot it down. And I say the same thing to everybody in the crew. Like, if you notice something that keeps happening, you're like, look, I don't know what the hell Middle Tennessee State is doing in baseball, but they keep winning games. You know what I mean? Like, you start to see trends, all right, that stay consistent. So this will be kind of a living document that we have week after week after week. But once you start seeing the same teams doing the same thing, it's bettable. You know what I mean? You just want consistency there. So those are trends of note.
I'll just interrupt you for 1 second to say that everybody who's not in the Discord, if you join the Discord, AB puts all these in there. So you don't have to take a screenshot with your phone and fill up your camera reel with all these and go back. You can just go to the Discord. And I mean, that not even just the fact that the chat continues in there, using that as a tool is just amazing. Sign
Absolutely. Yeah. Great call. Nice job right there, man. And yeah, you're right. Like what? We'll drop every single one of these slides, not only after this show, but we'll do it every single week so that everyone has them. That's an absolute great call there. All right. Now, some under the radar series here. Okay. So we also do this because you're going to get these teams in your books to bet, but not a lot of people might be paying attention, the books included. All right. And you could steal. I'm telling you, you can use this and make money for real. So number 1, Wright State and Ole Miss. Keep an eye on runs here. Wright State will score. They'll also give up double-digit runs. They'll give up a ton of them. All right. And Ole Miss, they're a good baseball team. They'll gladly take them at the plate. You know what I mean? So keep an eye, Wright State, Ole Miss, in regards to totals that you see. Money line might be out of control. Ole Miss being a heavy favorite, but if you see a low total, pay attention to it. Virginia Tech, Indiana State, same deal. Virginia Tech score a ton of runs. Indiana State's not the same as they were last year, but they'll still give up runs. They'll still give up, maybe score a couple too. So pay attention to Virginia Tech, Indiana State this weekend. That series, you might see some nice low totals that the books will give you once, and then you spank them, and they're like, "Oh, okay, all right." Wake Forest and Maryland. These are two top 5 teams in terms of runs scored this season. These two teams can absolutely mash. They can score all day long. Now, Wake Forest, we saw it in regards to their pitchers and strikeouts. But I don't even want to know. Well, I do want to know what the totals are going to be when the books drop these for Wake Forest and Maryland on this weekend, because it's weird. Wake Forest plays Maryland on Friday. I cannot remember who they play on Saturday, and then they play, I believe, Maryland again on Sunday, right? So might be something to where you watch on Friday, see what you get, okay, then go back and get ready for Sunday, because maybe either of these teams have a lot of bullpen issues just randomly, right? That can absolutely help you right there. UAB versus North Alabama. No trends. These are just two teams that are better than they get credit for. UAB especially. UAB, you're going to see, offered a lot this year. Not saying bet them at this moment. What I am saying is keep an eye on them, all right? UAB is a team you could make money, because they're going to be underdogs in a lot of games, and a lot of games they shouldn't be underdogs. They're a good baseball team. And then finally, all right, Kentucky and Hofstra. Let me just tell you, number one, same deal as last year. Kentucky is an excellent baseball team that can rake, and they've got pitchers as well. Hofstra, I'm just going to tell you, they're the worst baseball team I've ever seen. And I'm not kidding. Go look at the scores. Tennessee playing against Hofstra to start the season. They're horrible. And apologies to any Hofstra fans out there, but they're horrible. So I don't know if the books are going to give Kentucky and Hofstra this weekend, but that's the whole point of this, is just keep an eye, because if they do, I'm not kidding you, Kentucky could score 15 runs a game. It absolutely could do it. So just keep an eye there. Again, don't know if the book's going to offer those, but keep an eye, because I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to this game or these two teams. They should be on Kentucky. We're going to talk more about them in here in a minute. But yeah, if your book gives you something that is decently playable, ride it. I'm telling you, Kentucky's going to score a lot of runs this weekend. All right, TJ, thoughts that you see on anything here?
Yeah, so Wake Forest, Maryland. You're right about the games that go. They play. I think you had the days opposite though. So they play Princeton on Friday, then Maryland, and then they do a double header on Sunday. Is that how most tournaments go in the NCAA?
No, and that's the thing.
Okay.
That's exactly.
Well, they play both teams again. It's Princeton and Maryland double header. So it's like they play 2 games and the other teams don't, or they play the other team.
It's strange. I know. I was looking at it and I was like, this doesn't make any. So, but you know what?
Yes.
You can make money on quirks. Yeah. So
yeah. Cool. And then other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the Wright State and Ole Miss, like you said, because I'm targeting a couple pitchers on Ole Miss, and I think that we'll actually get some numbers because Wright State's good enough. And then when I saw your Kentucky and Hofstra, I laughed because I don't think I'll get numbers in Canada on it. But I don't know if they're much different from where I am to you guys, but I don't ever see that team in the book. So
yeah, no, look, and I'm telling you, like I'm in Nashville. I'm 35, 40 miles away from the Kentucky state line. All right. And I don't get Kentucky lines too terribly much so far. Now we'll get them a lot. But I'm just telling you, like that. And that's why we do this right here, is because this entire slide, you might not get any of them right now from the books to bet. But if you do, I'm telling you, no one's going to have any idea on Kentucky and Hofstra, and Kentucky literally might score 1,000 runs this week at Hofstra. Just go look at their stats. Like I saw it up close firsthand. They're the worst baseball team I've ever seen. All right. So that's under the radar there now. Okay. So let me pause right here. Okay. This is the rotation from last year. All right. And what the rotation is for teams that we're tracking that we are just consistently betting. And we're seeing them week after week after week. Okay. All right. Let me pull this down because I want to bring this up. All right. And explain why. Okay. So Where I have seen a lot of college baseball bettors get into trouble. Number one, we spoke about looking longer term than just today. Again, we want to hit every bet every day, but the sport is built on the weeks. All right. Even the coach, like, win the week, right? That's what you want to do. So with the rotation, all right, the hardest part that new bettors in college baseball find is there's so much information, and there's so many teams. There's 300 something teams. You know what I mean? Because you could bet what formerly, was D1, D2, D3. Like, there are so many teams, and it's easy to get lost in that. If you want to be, like, if you're new to this or an expert, right? Like, if you want to just get better, simplify it. You don't have to know and bet every team. You don't have to know every team. All right. You don't have to know everybody. You just have to know somebody. You know what I mean? So the process of the rotation is each of us has a list of teams that we just consistently are betting each week because they are consistent. So we focus in and dial in on these teams. Now, you might start with one team. That's perfectly fine. You're going to have every single team plays on a Tuesday or Wednesday, then a Friday, then a Saturday, then a Sunday. One team, that's 4 bets in a week, right? If you have 5 teams, that's what, 20 bets? Like, this is not a sport where you have to bet a million teams. Just know certain teams, right? And it'll absolutely help you. So the reason I wanted to show this is because we go through each week and we'll track the win-losses, track their runs scored per game, the runs per game allowed. All right. Compare those numbers and then how they did in the previous week. I didn't want to put the numbers here, and we'll start with you, TJ. I did not want to put the numbers yet because you mentioned it earlier, and it's absolutely correct. The numbers can lie to you right now. So I don't even want it to be something to where we're banking on numbers that are lies. You know what I mean? I just want to introduce the teams that we have identified so far. So I'll get out of your way, TJ. Just talk about each one of these 5, what you see, what you like about them. And you don't have to go, super in depth by any means, right? But just the 5 teams that you're starting off with that you like.
Yeah, so I mean, Texas A&M, obviously they've slow start the last couple games. They've been struggling, but what I like about them to keep them in my rotation is I didn't think we were going to get them at great numbers as the season went on, and a slow start might actually help us. So I'm actually keeping them in my rotation for now because I trust them. I just think they're feeling the pressure at the number 1 spot. North Carolina, love this team, love the way they mash. Right now, they're obviously killing it to start the year. I'm not surprised. They're going to stay in my rotation as long as they continue to do that. And they have the pitching. They have a great bullpen. They really know how to win a game late. Tennessee, don't really have to say too much there. They're off to a great start. So I didn't really have them in my rotation to start the year. I always bet them. I just am always hesitant with them. My own personal preference. Maybe it's I just don't like that orange. Vanderbilt, they've been a beast so far this year. They actually had a great schedule, tough a little bit, and they've stood out. And then Oregon's my team for the last couple of years. I probably know more about them than any other team. So that's why they are in my rotation, because I feel like I have a good feel for them when they're playing well and when their pitching staff is getting tired. That's probably where they struggle a little bit is they can hit and they can stick with teams, but sometimes they just rely on too little pitchers. I don't know what their pitching coach's name is. I always forget it, but he tends to not trust a big number of guys. So as they get deeper into the weeks, you see that they lose games where they're just like pulling out guys that you're like, this guy barely pitches for them. And then you see him come out and you're like, what the hell? And then they'll lose. And then you're like, oh, okay, they blew that one. So that's where I kind of stay away from Oregon as long as I see that. But yeah, other than that, that's my rotation for now. I know it's only 5 teams, but yeah, we're 2 or 3 weeks in. I still got a lot of teams I don't trust.
Yeah, no, that's the point of this, right? Like, there's no right, wrong, indifferent. Everyone's is going to be different, and that's the point of it, right? And you're right on Oregon. Like, they'll give up runs, especially early, but the Ducks make so many comebacks. It's crazy. But yeah, that's the whole point of it, right? Is it's not like like your 5 here. You might have 3 of them in a month. And that's the point of it, right? Is to just find consistency in teams that you can bet on. Whether, you're riding them, fading them, could be playing totals, overs, under. Like we did this with Arkansas last year, to where Arkansas's pitching staff was so damn good, right? They would win every game 6-1, 6-2. We didn't play any overs. We'd play unders in them, but we would play Arkansas money line, right? Like, and it was a good parlay piece because more times than not, you're like, buddy, Arkansas, is their pitching staff healthy? All right, you're screwed. You know what I mean? Like, so you just find consistency, right? And that's the whole point of it right there. So that's an excellent start by you. Mine, I'm going to start with 10 teams here. And again, it's not about having a ton. It's not about having, again, you might start with one. Like, that's great. Absolutely great. I just start with 10 just because, we invented this a couple of years ago, right? Like, I'm just kind of used to it. Once everyone kind of gets doing their own, you'll absolutely get what it looks like each week. And you'll say, oh God, like I'm telling you, it will help you so much, so much. Doesn't mean you have to bet every one of these teams, but it'll just give you the spots you'll start to see. And again, what you will see with the stats here, once we, start doing them next week and beyond, is that you'll start to see how they do previous weekends. You're like, okay, Vanderbilt is winning some damn weekends, 4-0, 3-1, over and over and over and over. I'm going to bet them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because I'm probably going to go 2-1 at work. You see what I'm saying? So you start. Now, my team's here, Kentucky. Again, go look at them. No one's paying attention to this Kentucky team, and they're good. They were good last year. All right. They gave Tennessee fits. Like, they beat a lot of people. Kentucky is a very good program that nobody's paying attention to. They will win games. Oregon State, again, tough one last week. But again, it's the start of the season. I am not afraid of it. Oregon State is going to be just fine. They're an excellent baseball team. North Carolina, everything that you said. Like, they're playing tough. This is a good team. Vanderbilt, everything that you said. Good team. Florida is playing great baseball right now. And what I like about having them on this list is the fact that they had a brutal regular season in 2024. The fact that they even got to the postseason, right? Like, it was iffy. And then they just caught fire because they have a hell of a coach in O'Sullivan who's won a title, right? Like, Florida's done this, and they've got talent, and they've got hitting, and they've got pitching. Like, Florida is going to be a wagon, and I really like the fact that, like, we look at the bounce back, that this is a full season bounce back that Florida's looking to do. So I think that they're going to be a force, and they're going to take regular season games, like, each one very seriously, because not they didn't take them seriously last year. They just didn't have much cohesion in that dugout. Georgia, again, solid team. They're not what they were last year, but they're kind of close. All right. Johnny Condon's not walking through that door, but this team is good. All right. They can hit. They'll give up runs too. Good, total team, but they're good. Wake Forest, we talked about it. They can hit. They can pitch. They can do it all. Solid. UC Santa Barbara, not always going to get them in regards to betting, but UC Santa Barbara is a damn good baseball team. So is UC Irvine. All right. Those two teams on the West Coast, when you get them, they're not always, 13-12 type games. They win a lot of them 6-3. Right? But they win these games, man. UC Santa Barbara is good. Florida State, absolute wagon. I know that they lost a lot of hitting last year. Well, they've replaced it. All right. Not going to say that it's a like Florida State literally could have won the national championship last year. Like, they were that good. And they got pitching too. They could get down. And LSU, don't even have to say anything. Blue blood. They're playing good. They're going to get better as the season goes. They've got talent all over the place. So those are our rotations. We'll add in the stats and everything starting next week, but I didn't want to put up any stats that were lies. Now, okay, we're going to get to questions in 1 second, but all right, we have to do it. All right. Got to move these damn teams to the bullpen. Okay. And you came up with that, and I love it. It's great. Now, our band list and our trust issues list. I moved Virginia over. Okay. Now, band, you came up with it, like Duke and NC State, indefinite ban. Break it down. What do you say?
Yeah, 100%. Came up with it just being that you got to be able to move teams, and I was trying to think of a reason why. Like when you say banned, it just sounds so like never coming back, but it doesn't mean you can't ever come back. I just moved you to the bullpen. You were a starter. You lost your role.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So,
you're
anyways,
right. Like they could come back.
Yeah.
Like it like banned is just for right now. All right, we got to put you out there. So
they're battling it out just like the kids are doing, trying to earn their spots. So Duke, they lose today, which makes them under 500. So banned. They were probably just a trust issue for me before the weekend. I was really starting to be like, I know everybody wants to, put them in the corner, but I was like, I feel like they're a really good team, so I'm worried about them. But yeah, banned. NC State, what a bad start. They're also below 500. These two teams are in the top, obviously 25 ranks, and just to start the first 2-3 weeks under 500 puts way too much pressure on them. Banned. So
well done. No, and you're right. And look, trust issues, Virginia, they're definitely at the top of this list. Now, I felt bad putting A&M there, but they had a significant injury to their team. Now, am I down on A&M for the season? No, they've got a ton of talent, and I think they'll be all right. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. I've seen talented teams fall the hell apart. You know what I mean? So we're just going to keep them there for right now. But I like this list for sure. And you're right. Bad doesn't mean forever, but they're gonna have to run a lot of laps. All right, they're gonna have to run stairs before they can get back. But I mean, look, man, as Tizzle says, look, you want a plus money play, bet against Duke. There you go. Like, it's not a bad play.
100%.
Dude, 100%, man. All right, let me go through here and take a look here. If we had any questions, Zach says, check the Discord at the show. Left you a picture for Duke. We could definitely do that. I'll definitely check that. For sure. Liddy, good evening, crew. Not happy about Maryland. Hit the like, and it made me feel better. There we go, Liddy. Good call. Hitting that like, boy. All right. Yeah, look right here. Tizzle said it, dude. It's a like he's one of the best players like in college baseball for sure. So yeah, like I don't think that it derails them like for the season. But he's one of the best players in college baseball, like 100%, man. Like that one is brutal.
Scott says, I feel bad for the kid, man.
It's terrible.
Not even just the team. I feel bad for him. Yeah,
it
real
sucks.
bad. But
yeah. What are your thoughts about Coastal this season? They were great last year. They were. We'll see. What made Coastal Carolina so good is that they could score so many runs, right? And when you do that, it can mask deficiencies, right? Like the back tail end of their pitching staff and their bullpen had problems. But when you score 15 runs a game, it's okay. You could give up 7. They're not that yet. I say yet. I don't know if they're going to do it. But that's the thing. About Coastal, track their run scoring because the team is built similar to last year. If they start scoring runs like that, then yeah, you score runs, you can play with anybody. You know what I mean? Like you could play with anybody. But yeah, we'll see about that one for sure. Tizzle, Bet365 poses some of the there we go. Yeah, they'll start doing it. And again, probably got to play a lot of run lines, or totals with them for sure. Let's see. I don't know if we have any, there really aren't any questions. I think that we're all good. 100 million homes, but how many have it muted because the host, what is it? Oh, that's good. That took me a second. Yeah, well done. That took me a second. I was like, what did I say? No, Dan, that was funny, man. Dude, the books were watching. Dude, they were watching it last year. They would move lines. Remember, they wouldn't give us lines till 7 minutes before. There are people that might think that we're joking.
It got to the point, man, where I was starting to resent you, man. I was like, Jesus Christ, baby.
You remember we would drop the picks into the YouTube like the community
The comments.
section.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like randomly, dude. It was hilarious, man, for sure. Rush at home run now 4-4 versus Arizona in the third. Nice. There we go. We need that over 11. Hey, does anybody have the Southeastern Louisiana game? It was 5-1 in the third, in the bottom of the third. We've got the over 10.5 in that one. Zach asks, how do these tournaments work? So normally it's 3, 4, 5, like it's around 4 teams or so. And you will have just kind of a round robin. Like some of them, are built to have a winner, you know what I mean? And others are just like a classic where you just have these teams come out. So really, to answer the question, it's random. Each one is different. And it's nice because you get teams that normally won't play each other, like Vanderbilt, UCLA, Vanderbilt, Southern Cal, right? You get those. But there's nothing more like on the line than just playing these teams. And the big thing with that is to watch travel. All right. Teams going like Vanderbilt going to the West Coast. Well, that's nice, dude. Like it's 75 here in Nashville, but it wasn't last week. It was 16. But going out to play in LA, solid, man. Playing outside, warm, generally. Like, it's good. Watch teams from the West Coast that have to go to the East Coast. That's where they get into trouble because it gets colder. And especially when we have these teams that have, transferred to new conferences, Stanford being what, right? Like you'll start to see them when they play these cold weather teams, and you have to travel across the country, man. Yeah, for sure. I think that's it, man. Like, we didn't really have any questions. We just had just a great chat. Let's see. South Louisiana, it's 6-3. Louisiana, I assume. Yeah, obviously 6-3. We need the over 10.5. What inning is that? Oh, top of 6. Perfect. Top of 6. Okay. All right, 6-3. We need the over 10.5. All right. Feel good about that. That's solid. Yeah. Let's see. Any live bets to throw out now? I don't have any. TJ, yeah, you got anything up? Take a look.
I can look quick. Just give me 1 sec.
No, you're good, man. You're good. Dan, you're funny.
Dan.
Dude, I love him. Tizzle, Discord allows us to be creative. Absolutely, dude. Like, what you guys have done with the Discord, man, is just phenomenal. Yeah, I don't have any live bets. Anything that you see, I could like when we get done. All right,
I'll jump to the Discord.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Yeah, do that. Like, let's just jump to the Discord afterward. All right, so we'll go ahead and end it there. But again, that's the show, right? And that's what we want to do, is start to prepare ourselves and get ourselves set for the weekend. And starting next weekend, like, we'll put together a final list, right, of teams. Again, we're recording, or we're live Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. So we don't have lines. We don't have spreads on these weekend games, but we could kind of build what we do in the morning show is a list, right? That's pretty much, what the rotation is a list of teams that if we get and we identify, whether it's a total, a money line, a run line, whatever, where we kind of find those ranges and we're like, okay, that's where I'm going to go. Once we get these lines, total spreads, etc., that's where we're going to go. So we'll start doing that next week. But yeah, TJ, any final thoughts before we get out of here? You did great, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate the crew and everything like that. It's going to be exciting getting to sit beside you and learn beside you and, try to keep up. And yeah, I'm just super excited about it. So, I'm not too worried about it. Yeah, I got this, but I'm just excited.
Bro,
you're good at
you
this
absolutely got it. Hey, go and show us those lights behind you. Show everybody those lights. Those good looking lights, boy. Good
Put
looking
them
lights.
in myself.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be live 10 a.m. Eastern, normal time in the morning for Drive the Line. But DJ Parker, I'm Alan Bell. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you soon. Thank you.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!